Make room, and let him stand before our face. Shylock, the world thinks, and I think so too, that thou but leav'st this fashion of thy malice to the last hour of act, and then 'tis thought thou'lt show thy mercy and remorse more strange than is thy strange apparent cruelty. Where thou now exacts the penalty, which is a pound of this poor merchant's flesh, thou wilt not only loose the forfeiture, but touched with human gentleness and love, forgive a moiety of the principal, glancing an eye of pity on his losses, that have of late so huddled on his back, enough to press a royal merchant down, and pluck commiseration of his state from brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flint, from stubborn Turks and Tartars never trained to offices of tender courtesy. We all expect a gentle answer, Jew.
I have possessed your grace of what I purpose, and by our holy Sabbath have I sworn to have the due and forfeit of my bond. If you deny it, let the danger light upon your charter and your city's freedom. You'll ask me why I rather choose to have a weight of carrion flesh than to receive 3,000 ducats. I'll have not answer that, but say, it is my humor. Is it answered? What if my house be troubled with a rat, and I be pleased to give 10,000 ducats to have it baned? What are the answered yet? Some men there are love not a gaping pig, some that are mad if they behold a cat, and others, when the bagpipe sings in the nose, cannot contain their urine. For affection, master of passion, sways it to the mood of what it likes or loathes. Now for your answer, as there is no firm reason to be rendered why he cannot abide a gaping pig, why he is a harmless, necessary cat, why he, a woolen bagpipe, but of force must yield to such inevitable shame as to offend himself, being offended. So can I give no reason, nor I will not, more than a lodged hate and a certain loathing. I bear Antonio that I follow thus a losing suit against him. Are you answered?
Answer, thou unfeeling man, to excuse the current of thy cruelty.
I am not bound to please thee with thy answers.
Do all men kill the things they do not love?
Hates any man the thing he would not kill?
Every offense is not a hate at first.
What, wouldst thou have a serpent sting thee twice?
Think you the question with the Jew. You may as well go stand upon the beach and bid the main flood bate his usual height. You may as well use question with the wolf, why he hath made the ewe bleed for the lamb. You may as well forbid the mountain pines to wag their high tops and to make no noise, when they are fretting with the gusts of heaven. You may as well do anything most hard, as seek to soften that than which what's harder, his Jewish heart. Therefore, I do beseech you, make no more offers, use no further means, but with all brief and pain conveniency, let me have judgment in the Jew his will.
For thy 3,000 ducats here is 6.
If every ducat in 6,000 ducats were in 6 parts, and every part a ducat, I would not draw them, I would have my bond.
How shalt thou hope for mercy, rendering none?
What judgment shall I dread, doing no wrong? You have among you many a purchased slave, which like your asses and your dogs and mules, you use in abject and in slavish parts, because you bought them. Shall I say to you, let them be free, marry them to your heirs, why sweat they under burdens? Let their beds be made as soft as yours, and let your palates be seasoned with your viands. You will answer, the slaves are ours. So do I answer you, the pound of flesh which I demand of him is dearly bought. 'Tis mine, and I will have it. If you deny me, fie upon your law. There is no force in the decrees of Venice. I stand for judgment. Answer, shall I have it?
Upon my power I may dismiss this court, unless Bellario, a learned doctor whom I have sent for to determine this, come here today.
Good cheer, Antonio, what man courage yet? The Jew hath my flesh, blood, bones, and all, ere thou shalt lose me on one drop of blood.
I am a tainted wether of the flock, meetest for death, the weakest kind of fruit, drops earliest to the ground, and so let me, you cannot better be employed, Bassanio, than to live still and write my epitaph.
Till thou canst rail the seal from off of my bond, thou but offends thy lungs to speak so loud, repair thy wit. I stand here for law.
This letter from Bellario doth commend a young and learned doctor to our court. Some 3 or 4 of you, go give him courteous conduct to this place. Meantime, the court shall hear this letter. Your grace shall understand that at the receipt of your letter I am very sick, but in the instant that your messenger came, in loving visitation was with me a young doctor of Rome. His name is Balthasar. I acquainted him with the cause and controversy between the Jew and Antonio, the merchant. We turned over many books together. He is furnished with my opinion, which, bettered with his own learning, the greatness whereof I cannot enough commend, comes with him at my importunity to fill up your grace's request in my stead. I beseech you, let his lack of years be no impediment to let him lack a reverent estimation, for I never knew so young a body with so old a head. I leave him to your gracious acceptance, whose trial shall better publish his commendation. You hear the learned Bellario, what he writes, and here I take it as the doctor come. Give me your hand. Come ye from Bellario.
I did, my lord.
You are welcome. Take your place. Are you acquainted with the difference?
I am
that holds
informed.
this present question in the court.
I'm informed thoroughly of the cause. Which is the merchant here, and which the Jew?
Antonio, Shylock, both stand forth.
Is your name Shylock?
Shylock is my name.
Of a strange nature is the suit you follow, yet in such rule that the Venetian law cannot impugn you as you do proceed. You stand within his danger, do you not?
Aye, so he says.
Do you confess the bond?
I do.
Then must the Jew be merciful.
On what compulsion must I? Tell me that.
The quality of mercy is not strained. It droppeth as the gentle rain from heaven upon the place beneath. It is twice blessed. It blesseth him that gives and him that takes. 'Tis mightiest in the mightiest. It becomes the throned monarch better than his crown. His scepter shows the force of temporal power, the attribute to awe and majesty, wherein doth sit the dread and fear of kings. But mercy is above this sceptre's sway. It is enthroned in the hearts of kings. It is an attribute to God himself. And earthly power doth then show likest gods when mercy seasons justice. Therefore, Jew, thou just as be thy plea, consider this, that in the course of justice none of us should see salvation. We do pray for mercy. And that same prayer doth teach us all to render the deeds of mercy. I spoke this much to mitigate the justice of thy plea. Which if thou follow, this strict court of Venice must needs give sentence against the merchant there.
My deeds upon my head, I crave the law, the penalty and forfeit of my bond.
Is he not able to discharge the money?
Yes, here I tender it for him in the court, yea, twice the sum, if that will not suffice. I will be bound to pay it 10 times o'er, on forfeit of my hands, my head, my heart. If this will not suffice, it must appear that malice bears down truth, and I beseech you, wrest once the law to your authority, do a great right, do a little wrong, and curb this cruel devil of his will.
It must not be. There is no power in Venice can alter a decree established. 'Twill be recorded for a precedent, and many an error by the same example will rush into his state. It cannot be.
Daniel, come to judgment. Yeah, Daniel. Oh, wise young judge, how I do honor thee.
I pray you, let me look upon the bond.
Here it is, most reverend doctor, here it is.
Shylock, there's thrice thy money offered thee.
An oath, an oath. I have an oath in heaven. Shall I lay perjury upon my soul? No, not for Venice.
Why, this bond is forfeit, and lawfully by this the Jew may claim a pound of flesh to be by him cut off nearest the merchant's heart. Be merciful. Take thrice thy money. Bid me tear the bond.
When it is paid according to the tenor, it doth appear you are a worthy judge. You know the law, your exposition hath been most sound. I charge you by the law, whereof you are a well-deserved pillar. Proceed to judgment. By my soul I swear there is no power in my tongue of man to alter me. I stay here on my bond.
Most heartily I do beseech the court, give thy judgment.
Why then thus it is? You must prepare your bosom for his knife.
O noble judge, O excellent young man.
For the intent or purpose of the law hath full relation to the penalty, which here appeareth due upon the bond.
'Tis very true, O wise and upright judge. How much more elder art thou looks than thy looks.
Therefore lay bare your bosom.
Aye, his breast, so says the bond. Doth it not, noble judge? Nearest his heart, those are the very words.
It is so. Are there balance here to weigh the flesh?
I have them ready.
Have by some surgeon, Shylock, on your charge to stop his wounds, lest he do bleed to death.
Is it so nominated in the bond?
It is not so expressed, but what of that? 'Twere good you do so much for charity.
I cannot find it in the bond.
You, merchant, have you anything to say?
But little, I am armed and well prepared. Give me your hand, Bassanio, fare you well. Grieve not that I am fallen to this for you, for herein fortune shows herself more kind than is her custom. It is still to her use, to let the wretched man outlive his wealth, to view with hollow eye and wrinkled brow an age of poverty from which lingering penance of such misery does she cut me off. Commend me to your honorable wife, tell her the process of Antonio's end, say how I loved you, speak me fair in death, and when the tale is told, bid her be judged, whether Bassanio had not once a love. Repent but you that you shall lose your friends, and he repents that not that he pays your debt, for if the Jew do cut but deep enough, I'll presently repay it with all my heart.
Antonio, I am married to a wife, just dear to me as life itself, but life itself, my wife, and the whole world are not with me esteemed above thy life. I would lose all, sacrifice them all, here to this devil to deliver you.
Your wife would give you little thanks for that if she were by to hear you make the offer.
We trifle time, I pray thee, pursue sentence.
A pound of that same merchant's flesh is thine, the court awards it, and the law doth give it.
Most rightful judge.
And you must cut this flesh from off his breast, the law allows it, and the court awards it.
Most learned judge, a sentence come prepared.
Tarry a little. There is something else. This bond doth give thee here no jot of blood, the words expressly are a pound of flesh. Take then thy bond, take thou thy pound of flesh. But, in the cutting of it, if thou dost shed one drop of Christian blood, thy lands and goods are, by the laws of Venice, confiscate unto the state of Venice.
Is that the law?
Thyself shalt see that, for as thou urgest justice, be assured thou shalt have justice more than thou desirest.
I take this offer then, pay the bond thrice, and let the Christian go.
Soft. The Jew shall have all justice. Soft, no haste, he shall have nothing but the penalty. Therefore, prepare thee to cut off the flesh. Shed thou no blood, nor cut thou less nor more, and just a pound of flesh. If thou takest more or less than just a pound, be it but so much as make it light or heavy in the substance, or the division of the 20th part. Of one poor scruple, nay, if the scale do turn, but in the estimation of a hair, thou diest, and all thy goods are confiscate.
Give me my principal and let me go.
He hath refused it in the open court. He shall have merely justice and his bond.
Shall I not have barely my principal?
Thou shalt have nothing but the forfeiture, to be so taken at thy peril, Jew.
Why, then the devil give him good of it. I'll stay no longer question.
Tarry, Jew. The law hath yet another hold on you. It is enacted in the laws of Venice, if it be proved against an alien that by direct or indirect attempts he seek the life of any citizen, the party against the which he doth contrive shall seize one half his goods. The other half comes to the privy coffer of the state, and the offender's life lies in the mercy of the dupe only, against all other voices. In which predicament I say thou standst, for it appears by manifest proceeding that indirectly and directly too thou hast contrived against the very life of the defendant, and thou hast incurred the danger formerly by me rehearsed. Down therefore, and beg mercy of the dupe.
Thou shalt see the difference of our spirit. I pardon thee thy life before thou ask it. For half thy wealth it is Antonio's. The other half comes to the general state, which humbleness may drive unto a fine.
I for the state, not for Antonio.
Nay, take my life and all. Pardon not that. You take my house when you do take the prop that boasts to stay my house. You take my life when you do take the means whereby I live.
What mercy can you render him, Antonio?
So please my lord the Duke, and all the court, to quit the fine for one half of his goods, I am content that he will let me have the other half in use to render it upon his death and upon the gentleman that lately stole his daughter. 2 things provided more, that for this favor he presently become a Christian. The other, that he do record a gift here in the court of all he dies possessed unto his son Lorenzo and his daughter.
He shall do this, or else I do recant the pardon that I late pronounced thee.
Art thou contented, Jew? What dost thou say?
I am content.
Clerk, draw a deed of gift.
I pray you, give me leave to go from hence. I am not will. Send the deed after me, and I will sign it.
Get thee gone, but do it.